He's a quadriplegic, and it's a program that has allowed for him to be in the best possible position of normalcy. I mean, you're a quadriplegic. It's not easy to get around. It's not easy to accomplish things. There's been a program for years that has allowed him to be as normal as possible and to live a normal life. That is currently being ripped away from Tony Otto. And I spoke on Friday with his family members. This morning, we have the vice president of the New York State Public Employees Federation, Randi D'Antonia. She's on the line right now. Give us a little update on what's going on here. Explain the program and what's being taken away and what's at risk for somebody like Tony Otto.
Sure. So the New York State Public Employees Federation represents professional employees that work at the Office for People with Developmental Disabilities.
Yeah.
We serve over 125,000 people around the state, and in this case, Mr. Otto lives in one of our certified group homes.
Okay.
And receives numerous services to help him stay included and be a part of the community he was raised in. And as you know, because you've known him a long time, you know, he gets around.
Yep.
He is, you know, at local concerts. He is able to be with his family. We are horrified to learn that the agency has decided to discharge him to a nursing home because they are claiming that they cannot provide the nursing support that he has received from them for over 25 years.
That's part of the problem here, too. That it's 25 years of, let's call it, normalcy. For instance, I would get a phone call from them, and they're saying, and Tony was always a big fan of the show, would always listen to the program, and I get a call and say, Tony would love to go on an excursion. He loves to play blackjack. So there would be somebody to support that whole process, and I'd go with him, and we'd whatever it is that he wants to do, whether it's a concert or an event, that all disappears after this, though, right?
Absolutely. The plan that his parents were advised of was a decision to move him to a nursing home far from them and not accessible as easily, and with over 400 patients. So you go from a familiar setting with loving staff and peers that you know and your family a few miles away to be an unknown entity in a large congregate facility, which cannot possibly meet his personal needs and keep him as involved and as a meaningful life that he absolutely deserves. It's just, it's really shameful. And our members often can't speak up because of HIPAA rules, but we know this is happening all over the state.
Right.
And it's a real problem. And we're imploring the agency to actually sit down and deal with it instead of just throwing people out of their houses.
Yeah, so I have a couple questions because I don't know this guy's story. What's the difference between I understand the distance, right, and being away from his family. I completely understand that. What's the difference in the care, the level of care he would receive that he currently gets versus you said he would be going to a nursing home type facility?
In a small group home setting, you have the same staff working with you over and over again. You frequently have access to accessible vans so that you can go and participate in a community life, whether it's, you know, a concert or going to a family wedding. You have doctors. He has doctors and specialists who have known him at a community hospital for years. All of that would disappear.
And can I intercept just for one moment to give you an idea? Tony, being a quadriplegic, cannot speak, cannot communicate. So he has a device that he is able to. His arm is on on some sort of a small boom, which allows him to slightly move the arm enough to operate the computer. But also, these nurses who have worked with Tony for years are able to watch his movement of his pinky. So his pinky, he is able to move it, and they can see what letter he is forming. So, for instance, let's say he wanted to say the word apple. They'll watch and they'll say A, and then he'll move his pinky again, P. So he communicates. That's how he has to communicate. If you put him into a nursing home, he'll never have that level of care. He'll never have the people that he sees every single day for years and years that are people that have been there to take care of him and allow him some normalcy in his life. And Randy, am I correct in describing it that way?
You're absolutely correct. I mean, those kinds of relationships develop over time, and the intimacy that you know about somebody and their family. These are our members love the individuals they serve. They care deeply for them, and to see this happen is just watching someone you've supported for years be put into a situation that isn't going to provide them the most meaningful life is heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And his parents are both retired PEF members. Mom was a nurse, and I think it's really unfortunate that it's come to this. We have many individuals who don't have parents who are living or can advocate for them, and so this situation that Ms. Destito is bringing up is to raise awareness too. This is happening to not just Tony, but lots of other people as well.
So why is this happening?
Well, I think there's a number of contributing variables. One, the state OPW system about 8 years ago decided to reduce certain levels of care, intermediate care facilities. They transitioned to those higher levels of care into more group homes, and really started privatizing a lot of the services that they had been providing. We had warned them back then that if you're going to do this, you have to resource it adequately, because those with high needs are not going to be able to stay stable in community settings without those supports. And they never really did it. It was very ill-advised. It's my opinion boils down to getting out of the business of providing direct services, and they have slowly but surely closed, and converted all these intermediate care facilities, which served our highest medically frail, behaviorally involved people, and those people are ending up in situations like Tony's.
And, I know Tony is now an adult, but, his parents, I spoke with them on Friday, they still, it's always your child.
Sure.
But imagine what's going on here as well with younger people, where all parents with children who have disabilities, all parents seem to want is just a little piece of normalcy for their kid. Just some everyday life to be able to experience the things that someone without disability gets to enjoy. And that's what this program has offered Tony Otto as a child and as an adult. And to have that ripped away after so many years of receiving those services, when we spend so much money on so much in this state, is, to me, it's just criminal.
So what can we do?
I mean, the reality is the nursing pay in New York State for public employees has not kept up pace. So that's part of it. It's a really hard job, so people choose to work in different settings. And we don't, the agency hasn't always treated their nurses with the level of respect they deserve. So there's a lot of things they can do to improve recruitment and retention. They can work with, the unions. They can work with civil service. They can do a lot of things that they have not, I don't think, put due diligence in. But the bottom line is the people we serve deserve to live in the most inclusive setting, and we have an obligation to take care of our most needy citizens. I mean, there's no excuse for this. If you can't find nurses, then let's sit down and talk about what the problems are and try to come up with solutions, and work with your nurses to find out what they need so that they're happier in the job. In Central New York, they've lost, I believe, 24 nurses in the last fiscal year. That tells you something.
Wow.
Well,
that tells you something.
Again, I'm just trying to understand. So is the issue that the nurses left the facility, so the facility's closing, or is there a funding issue from the state that is prompting him being relocated?
No, the issue is they are saying they cannot fill and keep nurses to serve him in that setting.
Wow.
Oh, boy.
That's what they're saying is the issue. However, they've been doing it for 28 years.
Right.
So it seems a little bit disingenuous to say that they absolutely can't do it. We don't believe they've tried everything they should, and we don't believe that this is the answer. They need to look at a number of factors to improve the working conditions for nurses, and that will improve the situation, and we're willing to sit down with them and do that. Families are, nurses are, but they don't ask. And it's falling on deaf ears.
What can people listening right now do? Make phone calls? Who do you call? What are you suggesting?
So certainly we would ask that people can go on the New York State Public Employees Federation site. There's a petition out there for Tony. We're also holding a public rally at 101 West Liberty Street on Wednesday at 4:30. And we would ask for your listeners to come out and support Tony and support people with disabilities to stay in the most inclusive setting, to live in their communities, near their families, and to have, the best life they can possibly have. That's what our obligation is.
All right.
Citizens.
All right, and that rally again is 4:30. You said on Wednesday.
Correct.
Okay.
On 101 West Liberty Street.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see what happens with this, and hopefully that the people can make a difference. It would be a horrible thing for Tony and his family if this were to happen. So, and we do so much out there. We spend so much money. This is an area where it is well spent, money well spent, and something. And you talk about the conditions too of nurses. It's time we start taking a look at that as a problem. There's a reason why you can't fill these positions. Something is being done that isn't proper.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very hard job, and we don't always address the needs of the healthcare professions.
All right, Randy. Thank you. Because without the nurses, where would we be? Holy moly! Yeah. Randy, thanks for the time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a great day.
That's Wednesday, 4:30, Liberty Street in Rome. Got a break.